Toastmasters.
Yes. Thank you.
So one of my podcasts is now nearing its 4 millionth download, right? And so I've had a lot of time to think about how podcasts distribute. The first 75 to 100 episodes of this podcast suck, in my opinion. Okay, like, get me, don't get me, and I'm not mincing here. I'm not one to mince. I hate those episodes. And it's out there. You get over it and you move on. So to his point, don't worry about that so much, but just keep getting better, as he said, and you'll notice there's only 118 episodes. So I hate the first, like 8 years of podcast episodes of that particular podcast, and like it's the most widely downloaded podcast that I've ever done. So, take it with a grain of salt, and good luck.
Gary Vaynerchuk hated his first 100 podcasts, but he just kept doing them every single day.
How do I adjust it?
And eventually they got better. Now he's a marketing.
Sure. Thank you.
Great question. Let's get a bit. You had one big one,
call me Al.
You rock.
1, 2, 3, you rock!
Awesome. So we're going to go to our next question. So a few of you actually presented questions online when you decided to meet up. So is it Dea here? Dea?
Oh, yeah. Hi.
You said that not knowing the right person? Not knowing the right people?
I didn't know that would be presented, but actually, yeah, that's kind of also why I'm here. I had a moment where I was like, I don't know the right people. I feel like I hit a wall in terms of like how much further I can go, because I think people are currency. People can download something into me that will take me to a better place in my life. And so I started a business, and I don't know where to go to get investors or even people to invest into my business. And so what would be those steps to network my art company? It's an innovative art experience. So instead of a paint and sip where you go and you drink some wine, you paint a canvas, you are the canvas. You come dressed all in white, and I have the spray guns and all that, and you spray each other with very non-toxic, friendly, non-toxic paint, washes off easily, and it's a great time, de-stressor. I've only had great feedback from it.
This is a product you've developed, and you look at taking other people to a level.
I want to have a permanent location, but that takes a lot of money, and that I don't have right now, but believe for it.
Really, really quickly, if reach out to Faizun Kamal, and if not, I can make an introduction for you. She's known as the franchise queen, maybe. But she's a franchise expert. I'm saying that only from the perspective that I believe that she could really be helpful for you in understanding how other franchises, like the paint and sip places, have proliferated across the country. Those are franchises that have built a model, and typically those are set up from a very important disclosure document that they create, and a lot of them are actually public that you can download. So just like Google Faizun Kamal, you will find her. She's very, she's around, and I think that she could be really helpful in that regard. And if you need an introduction, I'll be happy to put you in touch with Faizun.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else have a resource for Dea? Right.
So I've raised tens of millions of dollars in my career and started multiple companies, and didn't have a clue how to do that when I started out. So I had to sort of figure it out and found my way to success. Part of it was books. I'm a huge, anybody who knows me for a long time knows I've read a lot of books, and I've got a lot of book resources. A lot of it is networking. So one of the best books that's come out in the last 30 years that I've been doing with came out about, 4 or 5 years ago. It's called Pitch Anything by Orrin Claff, who uses a combination of neurofinance, NLP, hypnosis, hypnotic language patterns, and good negotiation strategy to design and deliver his pitches. So Pitch Anything. He came out with another book more recently, I think last year, called Flip the Script. Check out his YouTube page and videos, and becomes a little bit about attitude. The second resource I'll say in terms of knowing the right people, you're in the Big Apple, my friend. This is like the capital of world global finance. There are more networking groups around startups, entrepreneurship things, incubators, you name it. If you go on Meetup, if you go on Facebook, if you go on Google, they're everywhere. If you're looking for them,
you guys.
yeah. Startup One Stop, Bonnie does a great job of Startup One Stop, just Google it, of telling you what entrepreneur and investor events are happening. I've seen, based on that, like venture capitalists, pitch fests, entrepreneurship groups. There's another big group that's about 15,000 strong, just about entrepreneurships and raising capital, starting companies, etc. So there are tons of resources right here in Manhattan. And then if you're going to go the Silicon Valley route or whatever, you know, there are venture capital fairs all over the country. You want to be resonant with the industry that you're in. So if it's franchising, get to like a franchising event. If it's a one-off, you know, more of a real estate-based thing, get with that kind of a group. But there are groups right here in the city. There are online groups that you can get free resources about you to meet the right people, and then get up and go to networking events like this. For me, this event here and this mastermind group was one of the reasons I started this in '93, was to stay connected with like-minded people, because my friends in New York City at that point were like my drinking buddies, and they weren't helping my career, right? So now I know hundreds and hundreds of people with amazing resources. So get out there.
Thank you.
Hey guys, just housekeeping real quick. Rather than me yell out 90 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever, I'm just gonna go like this so you get an idea.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Just real quick, it sounds like this is starting, and then it sounds like it's still in the hobby phase. My suggestion is you have to go to SBA, because they will work with you to create this hobby into a business plan, and then from a business plan, you can start, you've got to take the hobby, create it into a business, and from a business, you can start thinking about investing. If it's still in the hobby phase, there will be no interest. So I suggest you go to SBA. There's a lot of resources down there that can help you create a business plan from this.
And what if I have a business plan and just one interested business partner? What would you say?
You have to go to SBA. They're gonna work this out for you. They'll drill down and they'll make it, because you can have a lot of what ifs as you go through this.
Okay, gotcha.
And so really, really quickly, go to americassbdc.org, americassbdc for Small Business Development Center.org. Type in your zip code, and it will give you the appropriate SBDC contact for you to start the process.
Okay, great, thank you.
SCORE is another one, by the way, Senior Corps of Retired Executives, and they're also free.
Yeah, let's start with the SBDC. Like, they are the entry point. They can put you to SCORE mentors, they can do all that stuff, but you need to start there with your business plan.
SBE,
You got it, Small Business Development Center.
okay.
This is all being live streamed to our Facebook page.
It stopped. The app stopped for whatever reason. Do you need to reset it?
I'll get it back going.
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
It will be live streamed.
Yeah, I know what happened. I don't want to start messing with it too.
I'll fix it shortly. So a lot of this will be recorded for you to rewatch if you choose to. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next question so we can move forward with the evening. I know. So someone had a question: high-end team building quality players. Who had that question? Okay, Mark Slower. Okay, fantastic. Do you want to expand on that? You can project.
I'm sorry?
You can project. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm a multimedia writer, director working
Just keep
in
stopping. No.
television, theater, and film, for the 90s. And so, you know, I have resources people to talk to, but I want to get more different person, expert opinions about how to go about proper team building, which would be like producers, managers, agents, things along those lines.
Anybody have an answer for that? Or a resource? Simon.
You can try, if you haven't tried the Producers Guild or the Writers Guild. Producers Guild has a pretty active, have you been there?
No, that's one of the resources.
Yeah, they're a pretty powerful group there. Also the Film Association, they also have a pretty active body.
Film association.
Yeah,
Okay.
try that.
Yeah.
I'll think a little more. I might have another couple.
Can I say something? You can subscribe to IMDb Pro. It's worth, that's a good resource. And you're better off taking the yearly plan they have. It tells you everything, who's who, what's happening once you are a subscriber.
I think the question is more about, and these are all great suggestions and some I've already implemented, but it's more about I guess, behind the scenes or behavior or, you know, what to look for and, you know, just any more like what are you looking for, proper team players and just more of an internal.
If you, for writers' rooms, I can talk to you more. If you're looking to know how to run a writer's room, I can talk to you more about that.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And John's a screenwriter as well, also, so you can help you with that.
Doesn't
Yes.
Tony have some kind of thing to help business people scout out and interview and pick out like their best attributes to build a team? I'm a teacher, so I can't really speak to that, but I'm pretty sure I heard Tony talk about that. Doesn't he have?
Probably with Business Mastery, one of his programs, and Chris, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, I think you're talking about the DISC assessment. So if you go on TonyRobbins.com, I'm pretty sure you can access it through there. Otherwise, and it's not just a Tony thing. I think he took something that was already existing. There's plenty of DISC assessments out there, but when someone takes a DISC assessment, you can find out kind of what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and
Yes, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like personality styles, and they simplified it recently. Tony, there's a bunch of those types of things like
The Myers-Briggs, yeah.
right Enneagram. There's the what's the
There's a lot
ENTJ
of
one.
assessments out there.
Yeah, there's a new one actually that's coming out that's kind of interesting, 5 Elements, that's based on Chinese philosophy. That's kind of cool.
yeah. Another thing you might want to check out also is Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It gets into a lot of kind of win-win strategy and getting people to work together.
Is there a final response?
I'm also just going to say, just to throw in the loop, because my husband's a pretty successful television producer, and he takes in a lot of interns and then tests them. And that's really been his best way to find out, because there's a lot of people that look good on paper or interview really well, but when you actually put them in the room and they have to produce fast, like yesterday, there's nothing like that firsthand experience, so maybe bring in a few.
I'm sure I just pretty much developed almost with that, so now I'm in that process of it. So speaking to you,
One more 30-second response, we go to our next question. So Frank, you
No.
Mark.
I think you have to use a lot of emotional intelligence when hiring people. Been managing people for 30 years now in kitchens as an owner and as an executive chef. And you just have to have conversations with them throughout the resume, find out who they are, what drives them. And this is all done through a nonchalant conversation. One guy showed up to me, walked in the door and goes, "I just got out of jail, 23 years, accessory to murder." Most people would have thrown out his application as that. To come do a job for me. You know when people are BSing you, and you back them into a corner. If they say something, say, "Well, how did you do that? Describe your day at work." But they can write anything down on a piece of paper and a resume. It's just, you just have to keep firing away at them and just really use emotional intelligence.
And hire slowly, fire quickly.
We go to our next question here. So you've got Jennifer, fear and doubt, reach a legal settlement in my favor. Anyone, would you like to expand on that?
Keeps doing it repeatedly. Yeah, I mean, I can keep fixing it, but maybe it doesn't work. You just fix it upon it and happen. No? No?
Keep doing it.
Okay, I'll keep doing it. Just
Process right now. And, so deal with fear and doubt, whether I can settle in my favor, or on my terms, so feeling stuck.
You don't have to expand on it unless you want to go further into that. Anyone have a resource for Jennifer as far as, or questions for her to kind of elaborate further? Legal settlement? Okay.
She said she was feeling, you feel stuck. Can you elaborate on the feel? Can you elaborate a little bit on the feeling stuck? What's the stuckness that you feel? I mean, take away the fact that you may have these 2 legal cases turn against you. You could completely lose both of those. What's the stuckness?
Losing my life saving, couldn't picture,
So you've lost your life savings. Why do you still feel stuck? What's the stuckness?
I have to start over again at this advanced age.
Yeah. I'm still not hearing the stuckness. Because you literally just told me what you would do. You told me that you would start over again. We fail. we fall, and we get back up,
Okay.
and we live another day. You're not gonna be homeless, I hope not. If not, you live in the great state of New York, right? You're gonna be fine. So the stuckness is really, it sounds to me, mindset. Do what you can do, and then like set aside the worry for another day. And eventually that another day of worry just doesn't happen. And that's what, like, we can worry all we want, we can have all the anxiety in the world, and you're talking to someone who's lived a life of anxiety, and it's never gotten me anywhere. Like, I've never had a lion try to attack me from, behind the wood, in the woods or anything like that. Those are all old, ancient emotions that don't serve you very well. Legal cases are just people in court and paperwork, right? So, like, think about what you're going to do everything you can to do that thing, to move forward, and just like buffer the emotion a little bit.
Okay, I've got one on this one. It sounds like it's not only what you're experiencing right now, I think a lot of us have something similar in that we have what I call catastrophic thinking. We wake up and whatever we're going through, we think of gloom and doom on steroids. And like, oh my God, what's the worst that can happen? What's worse than that? And a lot of people get into a contest. You think you're bad, I've got worse. You think you have a disaster, I've got a disaster with trauma, and we get into that because culturally we get support around that. It's a gloom and doom and catastrophic thinking. The first thing I do is say, and then immediately after that, you always tell yourself what's the best that can happen. Because the minute you ask yourself what's the best that can happen, our body answers the question that we ask it. So when we snap and say, uh-oh, not into that, our creativity and our steps in that direction.
Great answer. Son.
I think that's great. I also do a great exercise around perspectives, because a lot of times we come to challenges and we try to solve them from that place. And so you're not really tapping into your most resourceful place. You are tapping into it from a disaster sort of a place, and you can't access it. Your whole body is shifted into a really negative place. It sends all of those signals up to your brain, and it keeps you in that stuck place. I bet you when you think of your situation, everything is just like your whole physicality is even stuck. Right? You're not moving, you can't think, and it ties hand in hand, your body and your brain. So if you're stuck, then you're not going to come up with those solutions. So in this sort of exercise I do, that I'll take people through different, like, as many as 10 different perspectives. Just perspectives, not solutions. So just step around a room and take a look at this problem from 10 different perspectives. And then go back and choose which one you want to go into. And there's something really powerful about that, because one, you realize you do have a choice. Two, sometimes it's not the best one that you choose, but it's definitely not the worst one. And it's the one that's going to help you tap that body intelligence, that mind, that inner knowing of what the next best thing is to do. So it's a really powerful thing, but when you're in this place, I guarantee you're not going to come up with that best solution. So moving, even just shaking it up, moving, going for walks, going for runs or something like that. But I really encourage you to look at, embody 10 different perspectives or 8 different perspectives. Go back and choose, because that's empowering, and then from that place, embody that perspective. And from there, ask yourself, what would you do? It's a similar thing, it's just a little more involved than what you're saying, so you might find some specificity within those different perspectives. It's really powerful, I think. What Rochelle was saying is great, too.
So I've been in a situation where I've lost my house, my car's been repossessed, my business is failing, then I get into another business deal and it gets even worse. I've chalked it all up as education. It's a powerful education for me, and what it's created for me is to be able to compete better, be a better competitor, and it's actually helped my businesses. It's helped me expand my businesses. It's helped me do more coming from a place like that. But it also stems from gratitude. There's not a day that I don't get up that I don't thank, have gratitude towards having hot water, for having running water. We have so many things abundant in our life here, And when you start working with people from foreign countries, and we start working with VAs, and you tell them things like, Marcus, those are first world problems. Like, we're just worried about other simple things. I mean, I've had VAs that have come from a communist background where they're like, Marcus, they would come and just take everything away from my grandparents because they made too much. They live in such a place of scarcity and scarcity and all this. But we're blessed. We're truly blessed, and that's what you have to focus on, is how much you have, and you've gained an education. People go to college, take loans out, they graduate, they have no job, a ton of debt, and they still have no clarity, and they have no idea where they're going. So it's an education.
Booking system.
As we think about that, I want to invite each of you to just close your eyes for a moment and just consider 2 things you're grateful for in your life right now, in this moment. What are you absolutely grateful for that you have, the person, the place, something in your life that when you connect with that experience, that person, you feel amazingly resourceful and your heart feels lifted and lightened at the same time. Okay, open your eyes. We're going to go to the next question here. So first of all, 1, 2, 3, you rock for is Jennifer. 1, 2, 3.
You rock.
Awesome, great question. Thank you so much. So here's a common question that we're getting all around. So this is around procrastination. So focus on rocks and getting distracted. Another one is procrastination. The one I see here is how do you escape the cycle of putting it off due to fear of failure and get past success. That's another one as well. Also, so it's a common thing. So, and Rob, you have a question too. How do I create a practice and schedule that keeps me engaged and out of my head?
Can we do that next meeting?
So, on the theme of procrastination and pushing things off and refocusing on the big rocks now, like having a system for that or a process for that. Anyone want to answer? What do you do currently?
Okay, so I can spend the next 3 days talking about this topic, so I'm gonna give you 2 suggestions. One is to look up something called the unschedule, UN schedule. It was proffered by Dr. Neil Fiore, who wrote The Now Habit, and he was a Navy psychologist, and he's a wonderful person just generally, but the unschedule is a really great way to archetype a week, kind of setting a thematic week for you to get things done. 2 is to just gain a better understanding of procrastination. There are 2 competing forces when it comes to procrastination. The underlying fears are success and failure, and sometimes they're both at the same time. Fear of failure is that you're not going to get to that thing at the level or standard that you care about. The fear of success is that you care what other people think about you. So if you can help to minimize both of those fears, fear that you're not going to hit the standard that you want, set a really low standard, you overcome procrastination, and stop giving a damn about other people and what they think about you, you will overcome procrastination. It's like the number 2, the 2 steps that I walk every client through is them writing down all the people that they care about, and then writing down a list of all of the people who they want to have them care about. Then, you know, the inverse, right? People who they want to care about them. And they're frequently not the same list. The people who are the same list, we can eliminate those people, because it's like husband, wife, you know, loved ones, that kind of thing. It's the people who you want to care about you that you don't really give a damn about, that you need to stop giving a damn about what they think about you. And then all of a sudden, procrastination kind of melts away. But it has a lot to do with you caring too much about what other people think about you.
I have a tiny help on that. I mean, I think we all get overwhelmed, and we've got God knows what to do, and especially when I'm starting a new project, like I'm starting a new program, you're starting a new book, you're starting a new, like how do you get started? Because there's a lot of, all of a sudden, I have to cook. I never cook. Okay, all of a sudden I have an emergency load of laundry, emergency, because we'll do anything not to get started. So one of the things that's helped me is I take what I call break the ice. I schedule about 15 minutes to break the ice on that program, whatever I'm doing, and it's only 15 minutes, and I schedule it, and the only way that I will not do it is if, God forbid, like I smell smoke. And it's only 15 minutes, because what it does is it breaks the ice of fear and procrastination, and it allows me to move forward at a later time. And after I do the first 15 minutes, then I'll schedule when I'll do the next action regarding that. The key for me is to break the ice, to break the stagnation, and then I can make something happen. But if I'm starting something, and I say I need an hour and a half, 2 hours, I need a half a day to work on this, I'll never do it. I'll scare myself, I'll never do it. There's always something more urgent taking place. But I can do 15 minutes to break the ice. I can schedule another 20 minutes to break the ice. Once a program or a project or whatever has momentum in it, it has energy in it, it carries itself. So I need to put the energy in the project until it carries itself, and it makes it easier for me.
Yeah, for being positive mindset, I have a sort of counterintuitive system. I definitely have, I use Tony's system in terms of breaking things out and chunking them. But then I started recently, because it just worked, was to write a I don't want to do list. My don't want to do list. And 9.9 times out of 10, that's the list that actually has to happen. And that goes first. And that's my list. And so I just start with all the things I don't want to do, and by just naming it and calling it out, it somehow takes away a little bit of the emotional pull. Yeah, it's just like, oh, I don't want to do this. Okay. But it's first, and I'm not allowed to do anything else until I do some of the things on that list. And once I, get rid of some of those really key important things, because inevitably that's the thing that's on that list, everything else starts to go. So, but calling it out, it took away the emotional power of it.
A lot of good things said here, a lot of very good things said. I face procrastination on certain things I don't want to do, and some days, I know that I wasted time all day and didn't do this. I think sometimes, for me, not doing something is more productive, because it gives me a fresh start, lets me think about things, lets me put energy towards the how to engineer something, how to figure something out, and then go back to it. Sometimes, because I tend to do too much, and I'm going in all these different directions, that stopping and not doing anything is actually productive, because it gets me a fresh start to go and go again. But I really, like I said, a lot of great ideas here, all this stuff, I do all this stuff, do it, all this stuff works. But I don't feel bad about procrastinating. I used to, but I'm like, you know what? I can't feel bad about it. It was valuable time away from all this other stuff that I'm doing, and I was able to enjoy myself. Now back to the regular social program.
And I read a quote years ago in Tom Hopkins' book, one of the early books I read, which is, I must do the most important thing at every moment possible. Right now, you can't always do that, but focus on what's most important, getting you toward your goal, your vision, your mission, and it'll keep you on track. And if you need to get up and move, do some affirmations, get your blood flowing, and then sit down again until you get that one thing, that 15-minute thing done, it'll give you the momentum.
A great resource, something that's helped me quite a bit over the years. So, years ago, my dad passed away in 2004, and I made a huge shift. My mom was in Queens up by herself, and I chose to release everything I owned and move near her. And what I found is people around me, my college friends, are no longer around me, so I had to create a peer group. So fortunately, I was part of this community called NYPowerteam, this community here. And it was after Date with Destiny in 2005, a bunch of us came together, we formed this accountability group. And the idea is that what if we could keep our why and keep our goals engaged every day? So one thing I've learned over the years is that conversations or dreams disappear unless we keep these goals alive, right? Anyone agree with that?
Yeah.
So we've got to constantly, there's a vision board. For me, I've got a bracelet that I have in my hand. I have people in my life, my wife, my kids remind me of the things I'm up to. So when you set the expectations high, when people expect you to succeed and show up and deliver, we meet those expectations. So we started this accountability group, and the idea was about making 1% progress each day. This idea changed my life. Every month we'd meet with a power team before a meeting, we'd connect and share how we were doing, and we were all progressing. And we were making huge strides. And we're all on purpose, especially since we just invested in this event called Date with Destiny. So if you are interested in having more momentum, so we cost the program, Momentum Buddy program, it's affordable. It costs nearly nothing. So for a few dollars a day, you get to be paired with someone who's a peer coach for 2 weeks at a time, and then you rate that experience and you get another peer coach. and we help you track your progress until you're meeting your goals, your dreams. And the truth is, isolation is a dream destroyer. So when you have someone you're connecting with, for me, my calls are 7 in the morning before my kids get up, 20, 30-minute huddle call. And I get to share how my previous day went, how I did toward my goals, rating myself professionally and personally. Then my buddy asked me that magic question. Well, how could yesterday have been better? Or if you had to relive yesterday over again in an alternate reality, what would you have done differently? That one question, it's called the Kaizen question, or as Tony Robbins says, the can I question, constant and never-ending improvement question, allows me to make 1% progress, allows me to make today better than yesterday. And if you all know about compound interest, especially David Block, who's our accountant, put a few dollars away each day over time, that adds up to eventually millions of dollars. So if you're willing to invest every day in your life, in your relationship, in your business, eventually it'll grow. And one breakthrough I've had recently is with my wife. So I realized that we have some friction in our relationship. I want to be adored. So I started journaling each day. How am I adoring my wife? I started journaling that, reporting to my buddy too as well. And slowly our relationship started shifting, but simply focusing on that each day for a few moments, journaling that each day, and reporting back to your buddy perhaps of how that was happening. But our relationship has grown quite a bit simply by me making that small distinction. Where focus and intention goes, energy flows. It's that simple. So if you're interested in a Momentum Buddy, we have a great process. It's very affordable. It costs $88 per month, $20 a week. You get a peer coach for 2 weeks at a time. 3 of our members are here too as well also. You can text me 747, the number 2 circle, 747-224-7253. I see maybe about 10 members in our audience here also. So I'll take care of you. Anyone else have a question?
Yeah, I was hoping that it wasn't the last call for questions. So, so my name is Jean-Louis. I'm a friend of Joseph's. We've known each other for quite some time. As I mentioned, together for a little bit. I worked in restaurants for 12 years here in New York. I can totally get the grind. I get it. You know, I did it from when I was 16 to my early 30s. So it's really one of the best times of my life, actually, when I think about it. A little bit, my question has to do with just a little background is, after I got off the restaurant, I wanted to go professional, get into sales. Then I took over my father's business in Haiti. He passed away unexpectedly. I was caretaker. And I was thrust into the situation where I was totally, wholly unqualified to take this business on. Didn't speak the language, didn't know the business, never managed a person. All of a sudden I had 100 people that were looking at me, knowing that they knew my business better than I knew my business. And this was in 2009, 2010, the earthquake hits. 6 months in, hostile takeover, I have a target on my back. They see me as the weak link. They'll try to take the business from me. After that, the cholera epidemic. After that, I got shot at, almost held up. Just one thing after another. We had no assets to speak of, none, just we had one client that held us, with contracts that were next because they knew we had no choice to go. Long story short, 7.5 years later, I was very fortunate in that I was able to kind of just take what I learned from my partner, my dad's partner, grew the business 300%, got all their assets, learned what I needed to learn, got through everything, and I left the business better off. People were left better off for my having been there than worse off for my having been there. And that was the biggest thing that I needed to do. But now I came back, I didn't get a huge payout. It was modest income. It was Haiti. They don't give big contracts. So I got back into a business I was already in, which was online marketing. I had done that for a number of years, doing something my heart was in. And I knew there was a gift that I was supposed to do. I'm 45, and I looked back when I was in my 20s, and I know people who did give their gift and did go out and did create big things. And I look back and I said, okay, well, I'm 45, I'm not in my 20s, but what can I create at 60, 15 years? Tony talks about people overestimate what they do in a year and underestimate what they do in 10 or 20. And that really inspired me recently, I'm talking about this summer. And so I decided to give my gift. But my question is that it's unorthodox. Because when I was in Haiti, the thing that helped me get through everything, but miraculously, quite frankly, and helped me to create the strategies, was something that people don't necessarily talk about in the business world. but yet it worked. And so I basically called on my higher guides, and I created a methodology that through my own experience after implementing it for 7.5 years. And now I basically, you know how they talk about success is 80% mindset, 20% strategy, 10% strategy, 10% execution, right? Well, everyone knows about the mindset and all that, you can get that. But what I found was that my higher guides helped with my strategy. It was like perfectly tailored to exactly my situation that no one could really anticipate. It was like, okay, connect, set up staff meetings, create, like do the whole thing every day. And every day I was.
What's the question?
So my thing is, how do I connect? How do I take this? This is why I did background, what I was able to discover. I now coach people with this. I have 8 clients that's launched that did all this. But I want to take my commitment in the next 15 years is to create a body of work using this that impacts the lives of 20 million people by the time I'm 60. And I'm not yet clear how to communicate what it is that I do in the business world. How do you talk about higher guides and, quite frankly, angels, and not be taken not seriously?
Can't you just ask your higher guides?
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
One of the problems is in every business, and I'm going to speak to everybody and then zero in, the most difficult thing that we all have is you have to be able to communicate what you do to your target audience. Now, listen to what's really in their language, hello, and it's about them, not about us. So whenever I hear somebody say, my name is Rochelle, I'm doing this for 20 years and I'm located in Midtown Manhattan, and my response is, I don't give a shit. Don't talk about you, talk about what's the benefit to them. That's number one. People love a process, so what if we have something, we've got to be able to speak about it in a process, know what that process, what's the benefit of the process, and here's the next thing, you ready? What's the benefit of the benefit? So when you're doing something, you've got to speak into that. Now when somebody's very excited about what you can offer them that they can relate to, they're going to be drawn to you. But you have to be able to create the language of understanding that, and that takes time, and we can talk about that offline. You need to have what I call, what's your ultimate power pitch? When you're speaking about what you do, can your audience, who you're attracting to, can they understand it? We don't do well by titles. If I say, my name is, I'm Rochelle the accountant, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? But when I say, I understand the magic of numbers, and on my watch, you'll never understand the concept of bankruptcy. Well, then let's talk. Let's talk. I don't care if you're the magic of numbers. You and I'll Velcro myself to your foot. But if you just tell me you're an accountant, you're boring and you sound like everyone else. Now, I do work with a spiritual healer, and because I've created an ultimate power pitch for her, she understands how to take this spiritual message and connect it to the corporate or the business world.
Okay.
You gotta speak in their language.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for all of us. Now, the last thing I wanna leave everybody with, your message, your mess becomes your message. And that's why we all wanna be authentic. I wanna learn, how did you screw up and what did you learn? Because this way you're real. And you're not this, it's not like you're the king and I'm the peon. You made a mistake and I've understood your journey. I want that journey for me. And what's your modality that you're going to train me on this journey, that you're going to make the journey easier for me? So for example, her journey, her affirmations, her body, she took us on a journey, and I can apply that to me. We all have to look at who's our target audience, how are we speaking to them, and can they realize that you can fix their mess? Can you fix their mess? That's what they're paying you for. And how do you speak into them? We can talk offline.
Thank you. Lawrence? So when I'm at networking events and I meet people, I never ask the other person, what do you do? I always ask the person, what's exciting in your business right now? That's the question I ask, and I find out a lot more about what they do by asking that question. The thing here is you have to keep repeating. Once you clarify all that, you have to keep repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, because of course people's attention span is 3 to 7 seconds. They're getting too many messages. Somebody can hear you today, they can hear you a week down the road or 7 months down the road, the same message, but they're gonna process it differently along the way, because they're not ready for you at that exact moment. So you have to just keep repeating that same message and being able to get these people into some form of CRM, automate them, keep content, keep stringing them along with certain things and keep engaging them. And then one day they're gonna realize, oh, you do that? Quick story I have on my front of my restaurant, Steaks Seafood Vegan. People walk down the street, go past the restaurant, the barber shop next door was there for 2 years. They said to my guy outside sweeping the sidewalk one day, man, I wish I could come into the restaurant, you guys don't have anything that I eat. My guy goes, well, what do you eat? He goes, I'm just a steak and potato guy. He goes, well, we have steaks. He goes, yeah, but the vegan, you're vegan. People, it's been in front of him every day. He sees on steaks. My mural on the wall is a hand-painted lobster. Like, really? Like, how did you miss that? But what I do is, I blame myself for it. I take responsibility. And I don't blame them, I blame myself for me to keep telling my message. Maybe I should have gone next door with a sample of food to him when he first opened and welcomed to the neighborhood. And then he would have known what I do and I could have had that dialogue with him.
Awesome. But I end up with everyone has gotten great feedback from you, correct? So these are all different perspectives, and I want to just give you a quick story, and I want to acknowledge John Louise. First of all, 1, 2, 3, you rock with John Louise. First question.
1, 2, 3, you rock.
So 7 years ago, at this point, I met an amazing woman. We had 2 dates, and I was going through a crisis in my life. I was almost bankrupt. I didn't go bankrupt. I was almost bankrupt. And feedback is very useful. In fact, there are two men in this room here who gave me different perspectives of feedback. And feedback is very useful, so not all feedback works. You know, you've got to ask questions and see if it works, and trust your gut. So one bit of feedback that I received at that point was, so we had 2 dates. Financially, I was a mess with what I was dealing with. 2012 it was after Hurricane Sandy. A lot of things were happening in my life. So one bit of feedback I received was that you should end this relationship. Right? It's not right for you to continue this forward because you're not being a man enough now currently to persevere, to be able to take care of things. And then
That wasn't for me.
it wasn't for me. But so John Louis and I were at a men's group, a David did a men's group. I've been several years. Mark, you were also one of the years before that too. But his feedback was, well, he told me that, well, why don't you be straight with her? Just be honest. Let her know what you're dealing with. And if she's the one, how is your response to that situation? What you just shared with me, it'll tell you if she's the one. Right? So I took that. I meditated. I called him up. He gave me that feedback, and she took it. She loved it more. The next day she paid for it. Exactly. The next day she paid for it. Power team meeting 3 days later, January 8, 2013, I spoke about accountability. I declared that I met the woman of my dreams, a woman that I want her to see me as a one. I want her to initiate the conversation of marriage. I want her to see me as a leader. The next month she proposed. 6 months later, we got married with 2 kids now. So feedback is a very useful thing, and you know, everyone has different perspectives. Our audience here members have different perspectives. Take it in your gut to see if that feedback applies to what you're doing. Come back to our meetings because you will get a lot of brilliant minds. People here invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, and Mark has invested at least $500,000 or more in your growth training over the years. Frank, yourself, and everyone here has invested quite a bit on this journey, and it's really the game of having it all. I believe we all can have it all, providing we're able to course correct, get feedback, and really embrace momentum in our lives. And so I want to leave it with that. So we're going to then acknowledge our panelists, all of them. So Michelle, Sonia, Marcus, Frank, and Ray. Have a big 1, 2, 3, you rock for our panel. 1, 2, 3, you rock! Michelle's heading out. She leads these roundtables. So once every 2 months, she does roundtables on getting her pitch. So her website link is on the site. You'll find it later on. I'll provide it to you later on if you're interested in that.
And look in the Facebook group as well.
We're going to do a 20-minute session with Ray on getting more done. I apologize for cutting it short.
I'm sorry that I
Yeah. No worries. Thank you, Rochelle. She's indicated that before as well. So, how about we all stand up and stretch for a moment?
All right.
While we're doing that, can we have volunteers back and bring the drawing board?
Wow.
And can somebody bring a drawing board in the back on the room?
Yeah, maybe two people, so we don't hurt anyone.
In the meantime, we'll take a 2-3 minute break, step outside, get some water. There's a water fountain in the back. Come back here at 9 o'clock. Basically 2 minutes. Stretch up. If you'd like to purchase any of these, $15. We also have CDs on sale too, so Tony Robbins CDs for $15. When you come back, we're going to do a raffle. So we're going to raffle off a couple items. Make sure to come back in 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 9 o'clock.
Everybody?
Where's your restaurant? Ellenville. Where's that? Near New Paltz. There's a 90 miles north. We used to go, my wife and I. Okay. We're just over the mountain.
I fell off the ball, so I used to go hiking over Rockland. Yeah, I met my life.